everyone and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Claire and this is The Wanderlust Way. In today's video we are in England and I'm going to share with you my top 10 attractions when visiting London. Now these aren't just any attractions, these are all free attractions, so these aren't going to cost you anything, which is always a bonus. Share with you what tube station you'll need. I'm going to share with what type of attraction it is and ultimately what sort of rating I would give it. To be fair, nearly all of them in this are 5 out of 5 for me. Now most of these attractions are good for families, they're good for couples, they're good for singles, they're good for groups. I'll list each one and show you what it is. So without further ado, enough waffle, let's wander to London. Number 10 on our list, and that is Covent Garden. Now Covent Garden is suitable for everybody. There's so much stuff here to see, and of course it is completely free. It's completely free to wander around. You can take in the sights of the market, you can window shop. They have some live street performers that you can watch. And one of my favourite attractions in Covent Garden, which is another free one, is St Paul's Church, which is also known as the Actors' Church. Here, if you step inside, you'll find lots of memorials to famous actors that have passed and other people from the entertainment industry. Now, obviously, they do ask for donations, and if you can, please do donate, because these sort of things do cost a lot of money to keep up. But if you haven't got any money, then it's a free option. Now, tube station wise, this would be my top tip. They do have their own station, which is called Covent Garden. I prefer to come in at Holborn or Leicester Square and walk. It's just so much easier, especially during busy times. So, if you are interested in Covent Garden, obviously I'm not going to cover it too much in this video. I have done a couple of other separate videos purely on Covent Garden, so if you want to go deeper, feel free to catch those over on the channel. Number 9 is Chinatown. Chinatown in London is just a short walk from Leicester Square, and so the best tube to catch is again Leicester Square. So it's a good one to tie in with Covent Garden if you go in there. This is the largest Chinatown in the UK, and it's a hive of activity with Chinese, Japanese, Korean, etc. Restaurants, shops and businesses, and they're scattered throughout a selection of streets. If you come in with children, it's fun to look out for the red lanterns and the Chinese gates, and these are also great for getting some interesting photos of your trip. I can imagine it could also be quite a romantic place to come for something to eat if you're in a couple, but really it's got something for everybody again here. Of course, it's completely free to come and you can just walk around and soak up the culture, or if you are a foodie, then it's a great opportunity to grab some scran while you're here. You'll find cheap eats at small bakeries, or you can go full out with a full Chinese banquet or something along those lines. It's entirely up to you, but it is definitely worth exploring if you're interested in embracing new cultures. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5. Number 8, the Tate Modern. For those that don't know, the Tate Modern is an art gallery which began when the man from the Tate & Lyle Sugar Company died, and he donated his contemporary art collection and a large sum of money to the government. Now, before you think this might be a bit boring, hang fire, because the pieces they show in the Tate are certainly anything but boring. Some of the artwork here is often controversial and ready to shock, with bizarre paintings and sculptures that really make you question what art actually is. It's housed in an old power station, which is really cool in itself. But trust me on this one, if you want something to talk about over the dinner table, then head to the Tate Modern. And let me know in the comments if you think it's okay to pass off a mattress frame pinned to the wall as modern art. I'm going to give the Tate a 7 out of 10 because the exhibition does change, so it depends when you go what sort of exhibits you're going to see. I like to come in from Blackfriars Tube Station and walk over the Millennium Bridge. And if you are doing that and you're here around breakfast time, then the Salvation Army have a really nice cafe. It's peaceful, it's quiet, the food was really good and it wasn't expensive. So if you want the link to that, please let me know in the comments and I'll send that over. Number 7, the National Portrait Gallery. Another art gallery, but this one's completely different to the Tate, and the paintings in here are very, very good. It opens daily from 10:30 a.m. and I'd say this one's probably best for couples or those interested in art or history or both. The focus is of course on portraits, so you'll expect to see paintings, photographs of very famous faces here, and that's really interesting to look out for. They do also have some really good ones of the royal family and legendary British characters, including Winston Churchill, the Brontes, and Shakespeare. Again, Leicester Square is probably the best tube to come in from, so tie this in with Chinatown and Covent Garden if you're interested. Now, if you're doing London on a budget, you've obviously still got to eat, and one of the things I would recommend if it's a nice day is go for a picnic in the park. London is full of green spaces if you know where to look. These parks are free to get in. Obviously, your picnic's not going to be free, but there's lots of little shops nearby where you could probably pick up some sandwiches and a bag of crisps, whatever you want. There's Hyde Park, there's Russell Square, there's St James's Park, which is obviously near Buckingham Palace. The best thing to do is have a look at the attractions that you're actually going to visit on that day, and then go on Google Maps and see where the nearest park is that's on your way. Number 5 is visit the markets. So London has a variety of markets which vary on their offerings. At the start of this video I showed you Covent Garden, which does also have a great market, but now I'm going to talk about Borough Market, which is mostly about the food. This would be a great place for you to pick up some bits for your picnic, and it's not too far to walk from the Tate Modern if you're going there. Last time I went, they had lavender lemonade, Prosecco cocktails, artisan baked goods, cheeses, fruit. Honestly, I could go on and on and on. It was a haven for foodies. Not too interesting for the kids though. My teenager did get a little bit bored, but I loved it. I could have stayed there all day. The nearest tube is London Bridge, and remember please that it is closed on Mondays, so you might want to check Google for the timings before you head in this direction. What do you like looking for at the market? Let me know in the comments. And for number 4 on this list, it is of course the British Museum. One of the places you must absolutely visit if you come into London is the British Museum, and it's another one that is completely free. Do pre-book your tickets beforehand, don't be put off by the queue. It looks horrendous but it actually is very quick. And the British Museum, have you been? Let me know in the comments. It's one of the most popular attractions in London, and that's because it houses an extensive collection of artefacts from all over the world. Here you can see a wealth of history that dates back to when the British Empire began collecting things from all over the globe. It's a bit controversial for that reason, but still it pulls in the crowds all the time. My favourite at the British Museum has to be the Egyptian collection, which of course houses real mummies and some of the pieces used by the ancient Egyptians to transition themselves into the afterlife. They also have, in the Asian section, huge Buddha statues, a Japanese tea house, and things from the Romans. It could be interesting for most people, especially if you're into history and travel. The nearest tube station, I'd say, would be Holborn or Russell Square. And the British Museum, I'm going to give a 9 out of 10. It's one of my favourites, but it can get really, really busy. Number 3 has to be another one of my favourite activities to do in London that is completely free and it can be done any time of the day or night, and that is to find the blue plaques. Obviously, London is awash of history, so there are blue plaques which represent historical sites, places that people have lived before, or important events that have happened on the spot. So you can find these if you do your research in advance on Google before you go, or you can just wander about and try and find them. I have shared on the channel before some of the blue plaques that I've found on previous visits, so if you want to copy, head over to that and check that out. Number 2 is the Imperial War Museum. A fantastic attraction in London, and it's a free one, is the Imperial War Museum. Housed in an old hospital, the museum is one of the largest collections of artefacts from war in the world. It has exhibitions that include the Great War, World War II and the Holocaust. For history fans, it's a must visit, and although it was a harrowing reminder of how war destroys everything, it's done in a really respectful and educational way. I'd say this would be good for all ages, although the Holocaust section is restricted to an adult audience for obvious reasons. The nearest tube is Lambeth North, and it's such a good attraction that it did make it to the 2nd spot on my list. So, with all that, there is just one more to hit the number 1 spot for my fantastic free attractions in London, and that has to be, drum roll please, Yes, it is the Natural History Museum. No surprises that this one is my favourite. In fact, most people I speak to, it's their favourite too. Is it yours? Let me know in the comments. The Natural History Museum came about when the collection of natural specimens became too great at the British Museum, so they moved them all here. When you first step in, you're greeted with the skeleton of a giant whale, and things just keep getting better from there. They have a huge dinosaur section, a space section, and a really cool part with a simulation of a Japanese earthquake. A little bit scary, that one though, for the little ones. Paddington Bear fans needn't be reminded that their stuffed animal shelves are quite remarkable, and I'd say it's a great place for most age groups, especially if you're interested in the natural world. The nearest tube is South Kensington, and if you've got the energy after exploring, it is just a 15-minute walk from the Natural History Museum to see the iconic store that is Harrods, which is of course also free to go in, but if you're planning to shop there, then you may want to take your credit card.
So thank you to everybody for watching. I hope this has been really helpful. If you have got any questions, remember I have visited all these attractions very recently, so I can give you tips if you need them. Just drop me a message in the comments. And if your favourite free attraction isn't on this list, do tell us what it is so that anybody watching can also see some other recommendations. Now, next week, or in the next video, I'm going to share with you some more top London attractions, but these ones are paid for, but they might be a little bit more unusual to what you'd normally find in the guidebook. So stay tuned for next week, that one will come. Anyway, enough. Thank you so much to everybody for watching. Have a great day. Bye.